One of the things I was struck by today, I voted in Oakland County, and the long ballot, the very last thing on the ballot was what some people believe may be the most important issue on there once you get past the presidential race, and that is the RTA millage, because it is in 4 counties, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and Washtenaw counties. I'm not sure how many people waited until they got to the end of that ballot, but we've got 2 people here today to talk about it. Leon Jolette, he is with Michigan Taxpayers Alliance, and he was on Spotlight not too long ago. And how could we dare forget you? Dennis Cowan, he's the former mayor of Royal Oak, Michigan. He is also chairman and CEO of Cooney Plunkett. Plunkett Cooney.
That's right.
Prestigious law firm in the city of Detroit as well.
Thank you.
How concerned are the 2 of you that, I don't know if it's like that on every ballot, but certainly in Oakland County, that you had to go through the laundry list before you got to the RTA question?
Well, you know, worried about that to the extent that there's other competing ballot issues. I live in Royal Oak. We had 2 renewal millages for the school board and the police and fire millage. A little confusion too, I discovered with people with the proposal A ads. A is awful that is out there, and if that's your only item on the ballot, some people were a little concerned. I think most people got through that, but yeah, you do concern about all the down ballot, the individual races, and then having the stamina to get through the 3-page ballot and get to the bottom. But I will say this, I think many of the people who support RTA are committed, and they got to the bottom of that ballot today.
You know, it's really hard to know, especially in a city like Detroit where they have so many people running for school board, that it's a long way down the ballot. In some communities, a very long way down the ballot.
Back page, bottom of the second page.
Right.
In my community.
And you're right, this is the most expensive thing that they're voting on this election cycle. It's unlikely either the presidential candidates is going to affect their bottom line like this tax increase will affect their bottom line over the next 20 years.
Well, and we hear, you know, it's going to cost the average homeowner $95. Well, those who would want to play devil's advocate would say that that's very misleading in that, you know, many people's homes are above that average that's used to determine that price. Is that in fact a factor?
The average includes a lot of $500 homes that are abandoned,
Right.
that drag that average down. The average occupied homeowner-owned home is much more than that, and it's going to cost more. And if we multiply that, you know, it's $120 per $100,000 of taxable value, times 20. So for most people, that's going to be thousands of dollars over the next couple of years. So it's an expensive proposition, but we don't know. I mean, I think that an election like this, where is the enthusiasm? Who came out and voted today? How are these other ballot proposals going to affect it? So those things are just as important as I think the messages. I think, you know, Dennis's organization did a good job at getting their message out, and they had a lot of resources. And we had to do it more of a grassroots type resource to make sure we got our message out. But we can't predict which presidential candidates are going to be enthusiastic, get enthusiastic over how they're going to vote, who's going to go down the ballot, how A is going to impact things.
But Dennis, certainly there's been a lot of support
Yes.
for this proposal from business leaders, politicians.
From the elite.
Okay.
Well, that's
From the
not
elite.
true. It's been very broad-based. We've had labor unions, churches, Ford, General Motors, all 4 major health systems have supported us because I think they see the value. You know, in reflecting the last couple days, sometimes you don't see your messages crystal clear until the end. And 2 things struck me. One, RTA provided an opportunity for people to vote for something. All the ads you've seen on TV, or 90% of them, are negative. Don't vote for this guy or this woman. Also, we had an opportunity to provide and promise and propose change. All the national polling I've seen is in the 70 percentile. People in America want change. Now, that may be different for different constituent groups. They want change. RTA is about change. It's about changing the basic transportation system here in the area. So I'm fairly confident that that message got through, the positive message about being supportive of something, an issue, and also about the fact that there was going to be change. And people want change.
Attorney Carl, how concerned are you that this is a 20-year mill?
Right.
That you can predict that far, and that 10 years from now,
Right.
you don't have to come back to the people and say, oops, we got it wrong. Transportation has changed. This region has changed. The economy has taken a dip, and we've got to come back to your pockets again.
You know, I was on the finance committee. We went through a pretty comprehensive review of this with a national organization. Every factor we took into account is supported by federal, state, or local statistics. And I think what's important is that I think they asked for the right amount. I will tell you, if something changes in the future, it'll be very difficult to go back to the voters. That's why we ask for the right amount now and into the future.
There's two things you can depend on. Central planners will be certain of their statistics and certain of their central plans. And the other thing is they'll be wrong. And those are the two things that you can depend on. It's certainly I mentioned elites. It is a mindset of central planning that we know how to spend your money better than you do. Give us your funds. We'll be a better administrator of your money than your family will be. And I think that people are going to. Believe that people are going to want to maintain control of their lives. They're going to want to maintain control of their resources. This is going to be difficult, not just from a financial perspective on people, but the concept of closing lanes on major roads, having bus-only lanes with concrete barriers, and then having the buses have prioritized transit signals, traffic light signals, so that people have to stop coming the other directions. That's going to be something that's going to take a lot of getting used to. And I believe if this passes, we'll be hearing 20 years of griping that I didn't hear about that. I didn't know I was voting for that.
Leon Gillette, one quick second. Leon Gillette, a lot of people wonder, at what point will Southeast Michigan, this region, grow up and become competitive with the Atlantas and the Clevelands and the Charlottes and the Seattles and other places, and that if we vote down RTA, that sends a serious message to Washington and everyone else that we aren't really serious and ready to become a competitive region, a world-class region.
I don't think we should be looking to Washington, D.C. to become competitive.
But that's where a lot of the money is going to come from.
The money comes
and right
from
now
us.
it's going to differ in other places because we don't have
I believe that no matter how much money you spent, that's not the future. I believe that the future of technology and transit is going to come from technology. It's going to come from innovation. It's not going to come from, let's build a bigger bus. Let's imitate what happened 20 years ago in Atlanta. Let's do something that they used to do. I think the future of transit is not the giant dinosaur bus.
Dennis, what about this issue of another level of bureaucracy that really we're not bringing systems together? We've got DDOT, we've got SEMTA, or SMART, we've got,
Right.
If we're going to have an RTA, why don't we have an RTA that runs everything and the rest of these entities go away? And why wasn't that part of the proposal if you're asking for this kind of commitment from us, the taxpayers, for that long a period of time?
Right. First, let me say one thing that I'm very encouraged by, and that were pointed out to me actually by some opponents of the RTA, and that is that the voters in the Tri-County area, now we're going to add in Washtenaw, have looked very favorable upon reasonable proposals that have been made, such as the DIA and the Detroit Zoo. So we're looking at that as a model in putting together this proposal, that if we have a reasonable proposal, and this was reasonable, I think that with respect to the RTA is a coordinator right now, plus providing new service. In the long run, this is my personal opinion because I don't work for the RTA and I'm not on the board. Do I think there should be a merging? Most likely, yes. I think in the short term, because we had some statutory provisions, we had to get this on the ballot by November of this year or we lose that opportunity. So as a result, I think what will happen is over time, when they can work through, the legacy costs and all the other issues you have to with Detroit and with SMART, hopefully there'll be an opportunity to do that.
But everybody has their own piece of the action, and Chuck,
Right.
they're not going to give it up willingly.
Right. But my point is, that's something the elected officials can work out in the future. Why deny the citizens of this 4-county area improved and enhanced rapid bus transit and other transportation features? Why deny them that now while we're trying to work out all these what are really details, and they will be worked out?
We're
we'll
gonna
be
let you have
waiting.
last word.
We'll be
This
waiting.
won't be the last time we talk about RTA tonight. We have some more people coming up that are going to debate it as well. But
We'll
that's
be
all right.
waiting a long time if we're waiting for the bureaucracy to slim down and wither away of its own accord. The fact that they're not getting rid of SMART and they're not getting rid of DDOT and they're adding a new layer of bureaucracy is because it's a bureaucracy protection act. They can't get it with a buy-in without protecting everybody's middle manager job. Nobody's going to lose the job. They want to add on instead of make it more efficient. So we're going to get bigger, bloated, and more expensive.
See, this is
And
why
I'm going to take him on his first bus ride when we get this.
and this is why we want you both here, because these are points of view that people need to hear.
Yeah.
But you know one good thing that happened today? We all in this region, we did one thing together. We all voted.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe let's start
Very
there
important.
with turning things around, because this has been a difficult, in my 30-some years of being involved in campaigns, I've never quite seen one like this at the national level. But the discourse is good. You know, we have to talk about these issues. But today we all did something. When I stood in line at 6:45 this morning, there was no Democrat, Republican, you know, all that. It was just people going together to vote, and that gives me hope.
Which was refreshing given the campaign that
That's
we
right.
just saw for the
That's
last
right.
2
That's
years.
right.
All right, Leon Jolette against RTA, Dennis Cowan for RTA. One says if you build it, they won't necessarily come, and the other says if you build it, they will come. We'll find out. You, the voters, have the final
That's
say.
right.
So,
The people will
yeah.
speak on the issue. Gentlemen, thank you
right.
so much.
Thanks
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Appreciate it. Good seeing you as
Appreciate
always.
it.
Good seeing you as always. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I hope you get home before the sunrise.
Yes.
And we should point out, both of them Republican, for and against on this issue. So, you know what? Party can split from time to time.
That's right.
All right.
Gentlemen.